September 2025 does not arrive as just another page in the calendar. It arrives as a gateway, a threshold carved by the unseen hands of the cosmos. The winds of this month carry whispers from ages past, vibrations that were once felt by seers and sages, from the silent meditations of the Buddha to the cryptic visions of Nostradamus and the timeless prophecies of Baba Vanga. They all spoke of seasons when the world would tremble, not from fear, but from awakening, when certain numbers would rise like lanterns in the dark, guiding seekers toward abundance, wisdom, and clarity. This is such a month. Look closely and you will see it is no accident that the universe speaks in numbers. Each number is not a symbol carved in ink, but a living frequency, a pulse that ties the inner world of thought to the outer flow of destiny. In Buddhism, nothing comes by chance. Karma is the endless cycle of cause and effect, the wheel that turns silently, yet always precisely. Numbers, too, are like karmic echoes, reminders that patterns are never random, that energies return, and that even in our smallest choices, the universe plants seeds of tomorrow. September becomes the fertile field where these seeds break through the soil. Each sacred number that appears this month is like a star positioned in the night sky, not shining alone, but as part of a greater constellation. Together, they form a map, a sacred mandala of possibility, guiding you not just toward fleeting luck, but toward true alignment. Nostradamus once wrote that when the hidden signs align, the seekers will walk the path of fortune with clear eyes. Baba Vanga echoed the same truth. There will come a time when the simple symbols will awaken sleeping hearts. That time is now, and those symbols are here. This month carries 6 sacred numbers, each with its own energy, its own teaching, and its own key. They are not scattered randomly across your path. They are placed with care, like stepping stones across the river of time, and yet there is more. For hidden behind them, like the final jewel in a crown, lies a bonus number, a rare vibration believed to magnify intention, the way a beam of light becomes fire when focused through glass. To know these numbers is not simply to memorize them, but to embody them, to let their rhythm flow through your decisions, your thoughts, and your actions. So, seeker of wisdom, pause and reflect. If the universe is offering you these signals, if destiny itself is writing in the language of numbers, will you walk past them as coincidence, or will you pause, listen, and allow them to guide you? Number 8. The Builder's Balance. Number 8 rises in mid-September, not as a fleeting sign, but as an anchor of strength and destiny. It is the number of balance, the great infinity turned upon its side, reminding us that life is both material and spiritual, action and reflection, cause and effect. Just as the Buddha taught that the middle way is the path to liberation, so too does the number 8 whisper that true wealth is born not from extremes, but from harmony. This moment of the month carries its weight in karmic cycles, urging you to ask, what seeds have you planted, and what fruit are you ready to harvest? Nostradamus wrote cryptically of times when the powerful would fall, and the humble would rise, when wealth itself would shift hands like water flowing from one vessel to another. The vibration of 8 in this mid-September season echoes those words, an indication that justice, balance, and divine realignment are unfolding. Baba Vanga, too, spoke of seasons where unseen forces would push people toward fairness, whether they welcomed it or resisted it. In the dance of destiny, the scales cannot remain uneven for long. The energy of 8 also speaks of responsibility. It is not simply about receiving abundance, but about carrying it with wisdom. A king who builds without compassion will lose his crown. A seeker who walks with balance will build a temple that no storm can shake. If you feel as though the weight of the month has been heavy, 8 reminds you that pressure does not come to crush it, comes to shape, to align, to carve you into your higher self. Spiritually, this number tells us that wealth without wisdom is emptiness, but wisdom with balance becomes a lamp that lights the world. The middle of the month is asking you, are you chasing possessions, or are you creating legacies? Are you holding on to illusions, or are you balancing what is eternal with what is fleeting? Just as karma writes every act into the great scroll of time, the number 8 ensures that what you give will surely return, magnified and purified. So reflect now, in this turning of September, are you the builder of walls, or the builder of bridges? Are you living in fear of loss, or in balance with the cycles of abundance? Number 29. The hidden doorway of transformation. As September deepens, the number 29 appears like a hidden doorway, one that does not reveal itself to everyone, but only to those willing to see beyond the surface. Unlike simple numbers, 29 carries the vibration of two great forces, the cooperation of two and the divine mastery of none. Together they form a bridge between the human struggle and the spiritual triumph, between what must be left behind and what must now begin. In Buddhist wisdom, we are reminded that all forms are impermanent, and that clinging is the root of suffering. The number 29 whispers this same truth. It is time to release what no longer aligns with your soul, for only in letting go does the path open to higher awakening. Nostradamus often hinted at hidden cycles, of moments when the unseen would suddenly be revealed, when truths buried under illusion would surface like stars, piercing the night sky. In the light of 29, his words feel alive. This is a number that does not allow shadows to stay forever. Baba Vanga, too, spoke of thresholds, of years and seasons, where humanity would be asked to step through a narrow passage into a new chapter. The presence of 29 in this mid-September period is such a threshold. It asks you, are you ready to leave behind the familiar shore and trust the current of destiny? The strength of 29 also comes with tests. Transformation is rarely gentle. It shakes us, just as the storm shakes the branches, so that the fruit may fall. But beneath its challenges lies a sacred promise, that what crumbles is never the essence of who you are, but only the shell that can no longer hold your spirit's light. Much like a lotus rising from mud, the vibration of 29 calls you to rise beyond your suffering and embrace the beauty that was always waiting. Spiritually, this number awakens compassion. The 2 teaches you to walk in harmony with others, while the 9 asks you to embody wisdom and service to all beings. Together they remind you that your transformation is not yours alone. It ripples outward, touching family, community, and even strangers in unseen ways. When you embrace your soul's growth, you become the quiet teacher, the silent flame lighting others through your example. So ask yourself in this mid-September season, am I ready to cross the hidden doorway? Am I brave enough to release what weighs me down? And am I willing to trust that what waits on the other side of 29 is not loss, but liberation? Number 13. The cycle of death and rebirth. As mid-September unfolds further, the number 13 rises, a number long misunderstood, feared by the superstitious, yet revered by mystics who recognize its deeper truth. 13 is not the omen of misfortune, it is the sacred reminder that every ending carries within it the seed of a beginning. Just as the Buddha taught that all conditioned things must perish, so too does 13 whisper that what falls away is never punishment, but preparation for renewal. It is the number of cycles, of transformation, of shedding the skin of yesterday, so the spirit may awaken to tomorrow. Nostradamus wrote of times when structures, once thought eternal, would collapse, only to give birth to something truer and stronger. His cryptic visions echo the essence of 13, that destruction is never without purpose, and that the breaking of one form clears space for another to rise. Baba Vanga, too, foresaw moments when humanity would mourn what was lost, yet soon discover that hidden within loss was an unimagined gift. In the light of September, 13 is such a signal. It tells us that what you are being asked to release now is the very weight that prevents your ascension. The vibration of 13 carries with it the rhythm of nature itself. Trees shed their leaves, not in sorrow, but in trust that spring will return. Rivers carve new paths when the old ones dry. In the same way, your soul is invited this month to let go of attachments, fears, and identities that no longer reflect who you truly are. Though the process may feel heavy, it is not a curse. It is the cosmos guiding you back into balance with your authentic self. Spiritually, 13 calls you to see beyond appearances. To those who cling, it feels like loss. But to those who surrender, it feels like liberation. It is the reminder that death and rebirth are not separate events, but two faces of the same eternal truth. Just as the lotus rises from mud, so will you rise from this cycle, renewed and awakened. The number 13 does not destroy, it transforms. So reflect now, in this turning of September, what old patterns are you willing to release into the fire of transformation? Can you see endings not as failures, but as the sacred doorway to your rebirth? And most importantly, are you ready to step through 13's passage into a life truer to your spirit's calling? Number 11. The Pillars of Divine Awakening. As September moves deeper into its hidden current, the number 11 rises like twin pillars of light, standing at the threshold between the human and the divine. In numerology, 11 is called the master number, for it is not content with the ordinary. It opens the doorway to higher intuition, spiritual vision, and awakening that transcends reason. It is the vibration of the seer, the mystic, the soul who walks between two worlds. In Buddhist wisdom, this number resonates with the middle path, where duality exists, not in opposition, but in balance, where light and shadow become teachers, and every step becomes a meditation. Nostradamus often wrote in symbols of two towers, of two flames rising side by side, a sign of revelation breaking through confusion. When we look at 11 through his eyes, we see not simply numbers, but gateways, moments when the veil between the visible and the invisible grows thin. Baba Vanga, too, spoke of visions where ordinary people would suddenly awaken, gifted with insights they could not explain, as if touched by divine intuition. In mid-September, the presence of 11 suggests that such moments of heightened awareness are near. You may find answers appearing not through effort, but through silence, dreams, and synchronicities. The number 11 also asks for responsibility. When the eyes of the soul begin to open, one must choose carefully how to walk. To carry the flame of wisdom without compassion is to risk being consumed by pride, but to carry it with humility is to become a lamp for others. Just as the Buddha said, "Be a light unto yourself," so too does 11 invite you to recognize that the light you seek has always lived within you. It is a call to trust your intuition even when the world doubts it, to honor the whispers of spirit even when reason resists. Spiritually, 11 represents awakening through alignment. It is the union of higher consciousness with human experience, the recognition that destiny is not written outside of you, but flows from within you. This number is often called the number of the teacher, not always the teacher who speaks, but often the teacher who embodies truth silently, whose very presence uplifts and inspires. The appearance of 11 in this season asks, are you willing to become that teacher, first for yourself and then for others? So pause and reflect. Are you ready to walk between the pillars of awakening? Can you embrace your intuition as a sacred guide rather than dismissing it as illusion? And most importantly, will you choose to shine as a light, not for recognition, but for the awakening of all beings around you? Number 30, the voice of expression and destiny. As September carries us further into its sacred unfolding, the number 30 emerges with a vibration both creative and karmic. Unlike other numbers, 30 is not bound by silence. It is the number of voice, vision, and expression, urging you to speak your truth with clarity and courage. The 3 within it radiates joy, creativity, and expansion, while the 0 magnifies this energy infinitely, turning simple words into prophecies, small acts into movements, and whispers into echoes that travel across generations. In Buddhist wisdom, speech is one of the Eightfold Path's cornerstones, reminding us that right speech can be both healing and liberating. The presence of 30 at this point in September reminds you that your words are no longer ordinary. They are seeds carrying the power to bless or to wound, to uplift or to bind. Nostradamus often cloaked his truths in poetry, knowing that language holds more than meaning. It holds vibration. His quatrains, mysterious and timeless, teach us that words carry energy far beyond their sound. The essence of 30 aligns with this truth, urging you to look at your own voice as a spiritual tool. Baba Vanga, too, predicted that in times of great change, ordinary people would rise not through weapons or wealth, but through the strength of their words and the courage of their vision. The echo of 30 suggests that this mid-September moment is such a time. What you choose to express now may ripple far wider than you imagine. Yet 30 also carries responsibility. Words spoken without awareness can shatter. Words born from wisdom can heal. The number asks you, are you using your voice to build bridges or walls? Are you choosing to speak in harmony with your higher self? Or are you still caught in patterns of complaint, gossip, or fear? Just as the Buddha said, whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them for good or ill. So too does 30 whisper that your speech is sacred. Spiritually, the 30 is a mirror. It reflects not only how you speak to others, but how you speak to yourself. Do you bless your own path, or do you curse it with doubt? Do you affirm your worth, or do you bury it under fear? The 0 in this number is infinite potential. What you declare becomes the reality you walk into. To align with 30 is to align with destiny, not through force, but through the creative breath of your own spirit. So reflect in this mid-September cycle. Are you ready to honor your words as sacred tools? Can you use your voice to awaken not just yourself, but those around you? And most deeply, will you choose to express only that which aligns with truth, compassion, and your highest destiny? Number 41. The silent compass of balance. As September draws into its later half, the number 41 begins to whisper with a frequency that feels both grounding and guiding. At first glance, it is ordinary, 41, a number you might dismiss on a street sign, a receipt, or the corner of a digital clock. But in the subtle language of numerology, 41 is a compass. The 4 within it represents stability, discipline, and the sacred order of life, the square foundation upon which temples, homes, and even destinies are built. The 1, on the other hand, carries the vibration of beginnings, individuality, and spiritual leadership. Together, they form a union of stability and initiative, reminding us that progress requires both rootedness and courage. In the wisdom of the Buddha, balance is the essence of the middle path. He said, to keep the body in good health is a duty, otherwise we shall not be able to keep our minds strong and clear. The number 41 embodies this teaching. It reminds you that true strength comes not from endless striving, but from harmony between effort and rest, structure and freedom, silence and expression. When you see this number, it may be a subtle nudge from the universe, asking you to pause, breathe, and come back to your center. Prophecies echo this truth as well. Nostradamus foresaw that, in times of global tension, clarity would only come to those who could master balance within themselves, while Baba Vanga often warned that the future favors the ones who do not rush blindly, but who walk steadily with patience and awareness. In the presence of 41, you are reminded that discipline is not a cage, it is a path toward freedom. When your steps are steady, You do not need to fear the storm. Yet the number is also deeply personal. It asks, have you been scattering your energy, giving too much away, chasing too many paths at once? 41 appears when the soul is weary, urging you to reclaim your rhythm. The 4 tells you to root yourself in discipline and structure, while the 1 tells you not to lose your individuality in the process. Together they form a spiritual alignment, a reminder that you are strongest when you are both grounded and free. So in this sacred month, let the number 41 guide you like a silent compass. Slow your pace, organize your path, and hold steady to the center of your being. Reflect deeply on this question: am I living in balance, or am I allowing myself to be pulled by the noise of the world? For in the answer lies your next step toward wisdom, clarity, and abundance. As we close the chapter of September 2025, we see how each number 8, 29, 13, 11, 30, and 41 did not arrive randomly, but like pearls strung together on an invisible thread. Each one whispered a different truth: the strength of cycles, the courage of transformation, the awakening of intuition, the release of old burdens, and the rediscovery of balance. Together they form not just numbers, but a mandala of wisdom guiding us toward clarity, abundance, and inner awakening. In Buddhist philosophy, the universe does not speak in accidents. Every sign, every number, every moment is a reflection of the karmic rhythm flowing through your life. Nostradamus himself believed that destiny is written in patterns, and Baba Vanga often reminded humanity that even in chaos, the universe leaves messages for those willing to listen. These numbers are such messages, not predictions carved in stone, but vibrations inviting you to realign your path. This month is not just about chasing luck. It is about stepping into alignment with your true self. The wheel of samsara turns endlessly, yet within it lies the possibility of awakening. September's sacred numbers are not here to overwhelm you with chants, but to remind you of choice, the choice to rise, to listen, to embody clarity in the midst of noise. So as you leave this space today, ask yourself, am I ready to tune into the whispers of the universe? Am I prepared to transform numbers from symbols on a page into living guides within my journey? The answers you carry will determine the wealth, wisdom, and peace you manifest in the months ahead. If these numbers have spoken to you, take a moment to honor their energy. Write in the comments which one resonated most with your spirit. For even in sharing, you strengthen your intention. Like this video, subscribe to Old Buddhist Philosophy, and let us continue walking this path together, toward abundance, toward awakening, toward the eternal flame of wisdom.